Daniel be shady. I like it. He's a caddy girl. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we're back with another reaction to Cobra Kai. We're now to season 2, episode 3, which is called Fire and Ice. So we are jumping into this episode after we see that Daniel is fully into Miyagi-Do karate. And of course, Kreese is slowly but surely starting to inch his way back into Johnny's good graces and back into Cobra Kai. Unfortunately, he's not really seeing how dangerous Kreese is just yet, but I think he's going to figure it out pretty soon. And of course, Daniel is starting to get a little bit more involved in getting this karate school up and running. So I'm ready to get into this episode, but before I do, if it's your first time to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I hope that you like it here and like this video. And if you do, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps a lot with the algorithm, which means a lot to me because it just helps get my video out there. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming. And maybe you'll think about hitting that subscribe button because then you'll be notified when I do these reactions as well as many other shows in this vein. I will be doing the latest version, latest season, there we go, of Cobra Kai as soon as I get through these. So hopefully you will be along for the ride and all the other stuff that I'll be doing in 2022. So with that out of the way, guys, let's get into the episode right about now. Oh my God, he's like on Windows 95. I'm in pain. I'm legitimately in pain. And that's not the way Windows open on a Windows machine.
That gets
I just feel like it's virtually impossible to not have been exposed to the internet at this point. Unless you were literally in a coma.
These are just some of the skills that you will master.
It's your boyfriend. Come on, you're destined to be.
Be a snake in the grass. Be a champion. Tweet us at hashtag Team Miyagi-Do.
That was a sub. Daniel be shady. I like it. He's a caddy girl.
Rumble and Rosita? Yes, we certainly did.
We? I'm with Hawk on this one.
Brought lunch from my favorite CEO.
Oh, you in the doghouse.
Come on, you can't stay mad.
You in the doghouse. Ooh.
You know, Johnny Lawrence is one thing, but Kreese, I think that guy's dangerous.
Oh yeah, real dangerous. Geriatric karate coach.
Ooh, man, this
It's
is a
not
man
about
who
the age, sweetie. Manipulation. It ages well.
And you were right. Sensei is definitely Keen's father.
They just don't understand why he wouldn't tell us.
It's none of your business.
Show no mercy. Unless it's his son.
Well, okay, because it would be the difference if someone's beating up your mom or your brother.
Free karate. How am I supposed to compete with that? Snake in the grass.
I mean,
He's talking about us.
You already have the title win. Like, that helps a lot.
Thank you.
Oh,
Been a
Robbie.
little rough lately. It's nice to have people look out for you.
Something he's so unfamiliar with.
In order to fully learn Miyagi-Do karate, you have to unlearn your misconceptions about what constitutes training.
They're like, we actually came to kick people.
Let's go check out that place with the snake.
I mean, Daniel, you have to remember, you and Mr. Miyagi had like a relationship before he had you working. And honestly, even with Miyagi and his dad, it was because, you know, his dad was literally his provider. So he had to do it.
Throw Thunderstruck under it.
I'm pretty sure the rights for that song will cost too much.
No, I already own it. Cassette's in the car. One of those hash browns at the end, you know, like Hash Brown Team Cobra Kai or something.
Oh, God.
And then send it to the internet.
Okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, Robbie's my son. But that has nothing to do with how I run my dojo. It's also none of your damn business. Do you understand?
Know your boundaries.
But Sensei.
But nothing.
Exactly.
Get out.
Bye.
Be two clean mats for the rest of it.
I know it's a hard lesson, but kids need to recognize that there are certain things that just don't concern them. You don't see Sensei asking you all kinds of personal questions, do you?
It took my best student to remind me that anything is possible. I guess it's good you still got that Mexican.
Gal's from Ecuador.
I like that moment, though, because it shows just a teeny bit of growth on Johnny's part, right? Episode 1, he was using the term immigrant, and now he's actually correcting where Miguel is from, because guess what? Latin America is not a monolith.
Good, huh?
See, this is a moment you should be trying to have with Robbie. Just saying.
February 4th, 2002. It was a Monday. His mom was in labor for 17 hours.
Must have been crazy.
You'd never think that Johnny knew all that.
Welcoming him into the world. I was down here soaking up the booze from a 3-day bender, trying to get the courage to walk across the street. Never got there.
Still haven't gotten there.
And I want you to know, no matter what happens, I promise, I'll always be on your side.
Deep. This conversation is very nice in many ways, but it's also a very classic example of transference, because he really should be focusing on his son. It's just unfortunately a lot of transference of the fact that he feels badly about Robbie onto Miguel. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing for him to be learning these skills through Miguel, but he's not making enough of an attempt on with Robbie, in my opinion. And also, the reason he's doing it with Miguel is because it's easy. There's no history there. There's no bad blood. There's no real obstacles. And at some point, Johnny's going to have to start facing the hard stuff. Otherwise, he's never going to make it with Robbie. And Robbie deserves someone going through the hard stuff with him.
I was thinking for the finale, I could do some kind of flip kick.
Nah, don't worry about the finale.
Nope, do the flip kick. For me, I'm so much more drawn to this aesthetic. It's creative. It's beautiful. It's simple. Like, to me, this is so much more artistic and poetic, whereas Cobra Kai is really like, you know, ADD. But what I like about this, though, is that it's the truth, right? This is really what, well, some forms of karate are. You should have had someone bring the ice out in the meantime. Timing is everything. Maybe you should have started with the grand finale. Ah, Daniel didn't bring swag. He should have brought swag. I like free stuff. I will give it the props, though. It is visually stimulating. I thought Daniel's was, too. It's just different. Why'd you let him know you were mad? You should have just went and moved on. All that ice. I would have broken it anyway. Woo, and just like that, we are done with Fire and Ice. And I love how they actually gave us the literal fire and ice at the end of the episode. Yeah, there's just, I kind of like this because, again, there's always this reminder, and I like that the show every so often reminds us that this is indeed Johnny's story and Cobra Kai's story. And while we understand where Daniel is coming from, especially if you watch the movies, it's very easy to kind of side with Daniel and want Daniel to succeed. But this is about Cobra Kai's rise. This is about Cobra Kai kind of getting the upper hand and winning things for once, instead of having it be the other way around, right? Because in this case, Cobra Kai was the underdog. And like I said in the episode, I feel like with Daniel and his style of karate, it's just so different than the way Cobra Kai is doing it. Like, I don't say that one's good or bad, right? Like, Cobra Kai obviously is much more of a offensive, very kind of assertive, you know, lots of, you know, like a lot of punching, kicking, fighting type of style, which some people are just going to be more drawn to, especially those who want like more of an athletic type of experience, whereas Miyagi-Do is much more about the balance, the zen, the principles that go behind a lot of like the you know, feng shui and zen teachings of Japan, right? So just different philosophies. Both of them are valid, and both of them have different, you could say, benefits depending on who you are and where you are in your life. But I think it's just more this idea that Daniel thinks that there's only one way to appreciate and do karate, and it's just not true, right? It's evolved. Karate is still being practiced by Cobra Kai. It's just a different form and in a different way. And so I think where Daniel, of course, stumbles, that he just feels like Miyagi-Do and the way Miyagi taught him was the only way, but it wasn't. It's the way that appealed to Daniel. It's what Daniel needed. It's what worked for what Daniel believed in his core belief system. Whereas with Johnny, Cobra Kai appealed to him in a different way, and it helped him, and it appealed to him in a different way. So like I said, I feel like audiences make a big difference. Like, of course, Cobra Kai was flashier and shinier, and they did a lot of things that were very visually stimulating in their presentation. And I feel like people who are about that kind of instant gratification life and want that type of adrenaline are going to go and be attracted more so to a Cobra Kai style. But there are people who, even though Daniel's got like, you know, moderate applause, etc., I think there's still a lot of people who would be more drawn to the way that that Miyagi-Do does things. different, different vibes for different people. But anyway, love how that episode kind of, again, brought out how this rivalry is kind of overtaking what the point of this really should be, which is Daniel said he wanted to just spread a different type of karate message in the Valley, in which case he shouldn't have been upset by the Cobra Kai, like, demonstration. He should have just been like, okay, cool. Like, that was great. You guys did a great job. And then just kind of continued on. But the fact that he got upset, again, it shows that he's not divorcing his issue with Johnny and the bullying and all things that happened to him from what's going on right now with these two schools. And outside of that, of course, we had the moments between Johnny and Miguel, and also, of course, the students finding out that Robbie Keane is actually Johnny's son. And I said it in the episode already, that was something that was none of their business, and Johnny didn't owe them an explanation or even to tell them about it. Although in a way it does kind of look a bit shady because that is his son. It's kind of like, why wouldn't you tell us you had a kid? But at the same time, there's a boundary, right? Johnny still has his own personal life. And as a sensei, typically most senseis I know of don't talk all the way about their personal lives with their students, right? But of course, we know with Miguel and Johnny, there is much more than a sensei mentor relationship. But you know what I mean? It's the kids need a little reality check about boundaries and the fact that they feel a little entitled to all aspects of Johnny's life. But I know that's because of the way that Johnny has set up their relationship. He really didn't have a lot of closed doors, shall we say, when they started with him. They've seen him at his worst already. So I think that they kind of feel like, oh, well, we've seen him passed out drunk on the floor in our dojo in the morning, so we should know that he has a kid. But those things are not necessarily true. Johnny eventually had to have that conversation. Not had to, I think he chose to have that conversation with Miguel and tell him the whole story about Robbie. And I loved this scene when I first saw it because it was nice to see Johnny actually show that care and that love and be vulnerable about the fact that he does very much care about Robbie and he wants to be the father that he never had, but he doesn't know how. And I just like that he took accountability. However, he didn't make it sound like, oh, it wasn't the right time, or, he didn't make a lot of excuses. He did somewhat in the sense of that he said, oh, my mom had just died and I was going through it. And yes, those are valid factors as to why it would have been difficult. But in the end, it was a choice. Johnny did choose not to be there for his child's birth. I mean, 17 hours is a long ass time to be in labor. He had more than enough time to sober up and be at the hospital in all of that time. But he made that choice because he didn't want to deal with the hard stuff. And that's going to be, that's been the theme as we've seen throughout this series. And even in the first movies, you touched on it a bit. We know with Allie, Johnny doesn't like dealing with the hard stuff, but that's life, especially when it comes to kids. You're going to deal with a lot of hard stuff at some point because we're different and we're humans and we make mistakes. And part of our growing process is to go through the rough patches. So again, as I said in the episode, it just saddened me that Johnny didn't see that all this effort he's putting through it with Miguel is transference for what he should be doing with Robbie. But again, he's avoiding it because he knows that with Robbie, it's not going to be easy. He's not going to be able to have this moment where they get to share fries and talk about stuff. Because Robbie's got a lot of very valid anger, pain, resentment, and a lot of other negative things that he really needs to sort through and potentially vent to Johnny in order for him to be able to move to the next stage of having those moments. And also the fact, too, that he can't be a dad to him, right? Like, Robbie's basically raised himself at this point. He's kind of to a point where he's beyond needing a father figure from Johnny so much as maybe just a parental figure who cares about him consistently. And we saw that in the beginning of the episode where Robbie thanked Sam and said, thank you so much. It's nice to have someone looking out for you for once. And that hit home because that's just, a lot of us take it for granted if we have parents and family that look out for us. But there's a lot of people out there who don't have that truly luxury of just having someone care. So yeah, it was a good episode. Once again, I love that we're delving more and more with every season. We're peeling back the layers of Johnny. We're peeling back the layers of the relationship that he has with Robbie and also this relationship budding between him and Miguel. But it's not perfect. And these are one of these episodes where it shows where it's not so perfect. But it was definitely more so focused on Johnny in this episode, which was a lot of fun to watch. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. Of course, I always love watching these shows and going through it again. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video.